Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. It's Friday. We did it. We've only got to wait another month for another international break. Don't worry about it. I know it's upsetting that this one's over, but we've got another one coming in 7 games. Anyway, in the meantime, we've got Brentford to kick off the return of football on Saturday, 3 p.m. We'll run through the team news, speak about Kobbie Mainoo with confirmation on the injury situation there, Mazraoui, Garnacho, Mazraoui, Ahmad, lots to talk about there. We're going to run through my starting 11 that I spoke about yesterday. If you missed it, we'll run through it this morning, and it'll be a full roundup of the news. It's Friday. We'll whip the map out. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. You always look forward to football when football comes back. I hope United don't disappoint me tomorrow. Well, let's be honest. Part of me definitely thinks they will. But good morning to everyone. And I can see you there. Josh, you're there too. Carl, you're there as well. Good morning to all the mods who hopefully keep the chat a little bit sane down there. T as well. Good morning to you. Have a good birthday week. Barbecue? Man, I love barbecue right now. Anyway, Andrew, good morning to you. Gren, Vinny, Paul, Mossin. Got Teresa there as well. Hydro, Eugene. Not my dad, but Eugene. Jonathan and Steve. And on Facebook, we've got Musa, John. We've got Daniel, Mark, Matt, and Yusuf. Now, I'll tell you what we'll do for today. Let's just start a poll now. What do you think the result will be this weekend? We'll leave this poll up. I don't think I've done a poll this week. What do you think the result will be this weekend? We've got United win. We've got draw. Oh, we've got Brentford win. All right. I'll leave that up as a poll. Sorry, everyone on Facebook. It is what it is. All right. I will run through my prediction, which I already did in the video, but I'll run through the starting 11 a little bit later in the show. All right. Let's kick it off. Let me know what you think in the comments. First things first. This is quite... Actually, first things first. Anyone else watch that? It's like a little Japanese show on Netflix. Little 15 minutes. Like it's an egg and a shell. They go on an adventure, and it's just some really lazy egg. I don't know why, but I like it. Guritame. Loves a bit of soy sauce as well. Who doesn't love soy sauce? Come on. Now, this is the sort of conversation everybody wants to have. What's that one? It's like Lee. What's that brand of soy sauce? Lee. Is it Lee Kum Kee? Yeah. Lee Kum Kee premium dark soy sauce. That's the one. If you ever want soy sauce, have that. You'll never have any other soy sauce ever again in your life. Anyway, I thought this was quite an important little moment. It's probably quite a significant moment, really. The 1958 met with Manchester United officials for the first time to discuss fan representation. The 1958 have started another separate group that they want to be in charge of for fan representation. And I think it's a step in the right direction. The 1958, I was at that protest before the Liverpool game. And it was the biggest protest I had seen. It was huge. I think it was like 10,000 people that ended up marching. No, that wasn't the Liverpool game. What game was that for? No, it was the Liverpool game. My bad. I was thinking about the other game that got cancelled against Liverpool. I think the 1958 have done a lot of good, and I like to see what happens past this point and the next step in the fan representation versus, of course, the Glazers. And remember the initial conversations that were said around the minority takeover from Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos? Was the concept that within 3 years, the Glazers would be gone. Now, of course, the takeover was officially ratified in February. So we're what? 4 months off it being 1 year? And I'd say the Glazers are pretty much just... I mean, they still have some leverage and some control, but they're not in control of any sort of footballing decisions. Although, I'll be honest, I just want them gone from the club. Hopefully that will come soon. Right. I thought this is a nice little conversation and talking point. Right. That there is Habib Garnacho. Now, we spoke about this earlier this week. These are pictures of Garnacho. That's Ethan Williams, and that there is Jack Kingdon. The 3 United youngsters who went on loan to Lausanne Sport in Switzerland. I say on loan. They went on a 1-week loan. They went and trained with the first team. It's good to get the photos out here, but this is what I want to talk about. This is an actual statement on the official Lausanne website. You can go down here and say, look, the sporting director of Lausanne Sport said this. He goes, it is possible that players from the English club will continue their development within our club in the near future. And already it is already planned that teams from our academy will travel to England this winter to compete against the junior teams of Manchester United. These exchanges will benefit anyone, which will benefit everyone, will become more and more regular. So what we've seen here with these three lads, this is going to be the beginning of a partnership that could be extended. And as I said, the reason it's important, in my opinion, is because the gap between under 21s football and senior football is so huge. And loan spells don't always work out. So if you can have situations like this where three players who are maybe in form or the coaches feel like it's right for them to go. Now, Nick Cox went out there as well. I think maybe Travis Binion too, who's under 21's coach, just to oversee what was going on. This is a good step in helping the development of youngsters. Once they've got cough. A really good step in helping youngsters. Where's that tickle come from? And I'd like to see more of it. I think it's a really smart thing to do. And it kind of goes back to what I said before about the previous relationship we used to have with Royal Antwerp. Looks like we're starting that up again. Jonathan, you're saying Garnacho, Yoro, and Mainoo are in the Golden Boy nominations. Yeah, it's good. Congratulations to all of those. But I would agree on your second part. Yamal will win it. Of course he will. I mean, how can Lamine Yamal not win it? He is, like, by far and away number one. Man, what he did at the Euros and winning the Euros and what he's doing at Barcelona, he's a freak. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. I mean just an anomaly. And the annoying thing is that there's going to be people now that, you know, when you talk about the ages of players, you go, well, Yamal was doing it at 16 for Spain and Barcelona. He goes, yeah, he was. Rooney was doing it at 16 for Everton. Doesn't mean that all 16-year-olds are going to be Rooneys or all 16-year-olds are going to be Lamine Yamals. It means that they are the outliers. They are the anomalies. They are the... That's why freak's probably the wrong word to use. They are the odd ones out because of how special they are. But yeah, Lamine Yamal should definitely win it. Moses is saying, how does Nice fit into all of this? I think there's a good question there, really. I don't particularly... It's not that Lausanne is going to be seen as a feeder club for Manchester United, right? Because I don't think it will be. But it will be seen as a place where youngsters can go out to develop and maybe spend a week on loan. Or maybe they'll be able to do short-term loan spells. I don't know how that probably won't actually happen, really. Because I'm guessing in Switzerland. It'll be the same as England. So obviously, before the Premier League starts, Manchester United, they have to submit their Premier League players list. So it wouldn't be as if Manchester United could randomly bring someone from Lausanne in who's a youngster and then he ran and plays for United in the league. I think he'd have to be registered. So therefore, you can't just send players to Lausanne to play in the Swiss league for a little bit and then come back. But going there and training with the first team, it's a good thing. I like it anyway. Right. Let's move on to the main talking point for today. And of course is the return of football finally. It has been arduous these last couple of weeks. I've found particularly having run United People's TV for long enough and having run the People's Person as well, I always know about the dips, and they're just like with anything in life. Like the United People's TV, we directly reflect the club. When the club is playing well, more of you will always tune into United People's TV. When the club is not doing well, you'll tune out. And that's always been the way. And I'll be honest, I would rather it be that way. There are people, individuals, other channels. I'm not just talking about United, by the way, but some that do well when United are losing because it's an entertainment factor. And that was never the reason I started this channel. It will never be the reason I run this channel. I do United People's TV because I want to make high quality content where possible. Sometimes my content's quite good. Sometimes it's bang average. It balances out. But I don't do it for an entertainment purpose. If United lose, I don't want Liverpool fans or Everton fans or Chelsea fans coming and watching my match reaction to laugh at me. Nah. No, thank you. I'm not here for... I suppose that's probably partly the reason why I haven't grown in the size of other channels, but I'd rather do it right rather than just do it bigger for the sake of it. Sam, you look humble with this shirt. It's good at time. Love this shirt. Right? Linton, you're here at all times. Yeah, lots of you are, and that's why I said thank you very much, everybody, for sticking with me, for tuning in, and just for getting your news. Right? That's what I'm here for, mainly. Try to stick with facts and try to stick with news. And speaking of facts and speaking of news, let's go on. Let's talk about the team news. Well, injury news. Yesterday, anyone's asking what's on the shirt? It's a little show on Netflix. Watch it. It's good fun. It'll make you feel better. Anyway, I yesterday got a little bit annoyed and saying, like, why is everybody doing titles and headlines off the back of a tweet from a bloke called United Menace? Now, I said, it may well be correct, right? I'm not saying that this information is completely wrong. And it turns out the information was correct. But I'd rather wait for confirmation from sources that I trust than listen to any random account or anything else. It's just a personal way of approaching news. And I encourage you to do that yourself, because you will find you don't get caught out by fake news anymore. You might have to wait a little bit to get the right news, but it's better to be correct and wait than be first and wrong. And that's the thing. I'll speak about Kobbie Mainoo now, right? So there's confirmation that Kobbie's going to be out for a few weeks, and you've got Paul Hurst in the Times saying that Mainoo's set to miss the next 7 games. Now, of course, that means it'll rule him out for a month before the next international break. And I think that's what should happen. All right? Kobbie Mainoo, there hasn't been one game this season where I think Kobbie Mainoo has looked 100% fit and sharp. Matt, you're saying down there in the comments, like we all didn't see this coming. We all saw this coming. Kobbie Mainoo, when he burst onto the scene, remember last season, we didn't actually see Kobbie until, was it the end of November? Is that when he made his debut? I think it was around about then. It was away at Everton, wasn't it? I think so. That was when he made his first start. It wasn't his debut. I think it was his first start in the Premier League. And from that point on, he was in the team, and then he went to the Euros, and then he worked his way into the Euros team and played the whole way through to the final. Kobbie Mainoo, look, we signed Manuel Ugarte this summer on the premise that he would come into that midfield, he would start every game, and he would do the defensive dirty work. Therefore allowing Kobbie Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes, to focus on the good stuff going forward. Whereas this season, I think Kobbie Mainoo's, certainly the case was the case, I don't know whether it was before the international break, but he's made more interceptions than a lot of players, and I don't mean that in a good way. Kobbie Mainoo's been doing so much work off the ball, covering so much ground, the same as last season. That is partly the reason he is injured, right? Because of our style of play. And on top of that, he's just been played consistently. And here we go. Again, as I said, Garnacho, I'm really surprised that there haven't been more injury concerns with Garnacho. We'll speak about Garnacho next. But given that he played 38 consecutive games last season, I know he didn't play much in the Copa America, but he was there, he was training. I suppose that was semi a holiday for him. But I'm surprised that Garnacho didn't show signs of being overplayed. And it's that balance, man, of bringing a youngster through and balancing their game time to allow them to recover. Robert, I agree with you completely. He must be mentally drained. He's gone from being on the edge and being pissed off with an injury and everything there to boom, you're in the first team, boom, you're one of the best players, boom, you're going to the Euros, boom, you're one of England's starters. It's a lot in a very short space of time. So I'm not surprised. And I'll be honest, it might not be good for Manchester United right now, but I'm happy for Kobbie Mainoo that he will have a little opportunity to step out of it, reset himself, and come back in December. Because if he comes back in December, fully firing and fully fit, boy, our midfield's better. But Kobbie Mainoo right now, he's looked like he's... The way that Kobbie Mainoo has played football so far this season, he looks like he's trained legs the day before. You know how many legs are just a little bit heavy? Things that you were just like, that little split reaction. He's just looked a bit slower because he's been fatigued. Probably mentally, physically too. So yeah, sounds like he's going to be missing the next 7 games. I'm not saying this is a positive because it's not a positive. But I think Mainoo will come back a little bit recharged and a little bit better. Don't actually know what the injury is. Have they said anything to what the injury is? Hamstring. Right. Hamstring injury is just being overworked. Right? And partly, it's down to the style of play. Too much space for midfielders to cover. That's always been the case under Erik ten Hag, so, by the way. There is always so much ground to cover because United are just not compact as a team. Because you've got one set of players pressing and going forward, and then you've got midfielders who are trying to cover the space, but then the defenders need to come up at the same time. Everything seems disconnected. Now, look, I'm not going to label a Kobbie Mainoo injury as a positive for Manchester United. Of course it isn't. But I think we can all admit that Kobbie Mainoo hasn't been the same Kobbie Mainoo this season that we saw last season. And the only way that we were going to get that back is if he stepped out of the limelight for a while. And it does not make Manchester United's midfield any better. I tell you that. On top of that, here, Mazraoui, okay? 2 examples of bits of news that I've got annoyed about this week. The Kobbie Mainoo one, where people just trusted a random Twitter account, and the Mazraoui one, where people trusted, I don't even know what, again, I think it was another random Twitter account saying that he had cardiac arrhythmia and he was facing 2 months out. Right? That's what we heard about Mazraoui. I said, let's wait for confirmation. Let's see what the news is. Manchester United then confirmed that Mazraoui had had a minor heart operation. Panic ensues. Mazraoui's gone. Blah, blah. Mazraoui's already training. Now, I don't know whether that means he's going to be fit to play, but he's in full team training. So presumably, he'd be at least fit for the bench. You can see him there alongside Tyrell Malacia. You can see Ahmad hiding in the background. But Mazraoui, like, cool, somebody might have been right about Kobbie Mainoo. Great. But they weren't right about Mazraoui. This is the point. Your credibility only goes as far as you are correct. As soon as you say something and you try to be first to it and you get it wrong, doesn't matter if you got it right 13 times before, people will only remember the one you got wrong. That's how you build credibility. Anyway, yeah, I think the press conference is about 1:30 today, Stephanie. Mazraoui, he's in training. May well be fit to start tomorrow. Who knows? Also in training, Malacia. Now, the reports from Holland suggested that he was going to be fit at some point, probably towards November. And I feel like this is probably the first 1 or 2 times that he's actually trained with the first team properly. I think previously he was doing some of the sort of physical drills, but then went off and did his own individual program. He may well have done this as well. But Malacia's there, and also Garnacho. So it's kind of a mixed bag of injury news, really. No confirmation on Ugarte. I didn't see Ugarte in the training video. I think he was the last to arrive back. Martinez was there, and Martinez was training. And yeah, you're talking down there about that's why people would trust the Athletic. That's why people trust David Ornstein, all right? it's not just because David Ornstein is first to the news. It's because he waits and he waits and he waits until he knows full well whether he's got it from one source or another source. He goes, this info is solid. And that's what a journalist is. People are asking what a journalist is in the morning. At its core, that's what a journalist is. Somebody that you can absolutely, unequivocally trust their information. And the only way to build that reputation is to be right. And it doesn't always mean you got to be first. And that's it will always annoy me. I'm sorry. It will always annoy me. Anyway, Garnacho, training too. Origami saying Gore on the bench for Kobbie Mainoo. Well, I'll run through the squad options we've got. But yeah, mixed bag. Mainoo's out, but Mazraoui's actually training. Ahmad's trained. Remember, he didn't go away with on the international break with Ivory Coast. He's training. Mazraoui's training, and Garnacho's training. Good. All right. So some good, some bad, and then some that. Is there any point talking about it? Is there any point talking about it? I don't really know. I really don't know. I saw some hype on some aggregator account this morning saying, "Oh, soon we're going to get the Rashford and Shaw link up," and I'm sitting there like going, "Mate, there's no way you're going to get any sort of energy out of me speaking about Luke Shaw anymore." And unfortunately, right now, the same thing can kind of be said for Mason Mount. I would just have to be proven wrong. All right? Please prove me wrong, Luke Shaw. Please. I'd love nothing more than for Luke Shaw to come back in and everyone's looking and going, man, well, it's not going to work out. And then he just plays football for the next 6-7 months, no injury problems, and he looks great. Fantastic. Would be a better team as a consequence. I just doubt that will happen. Evidence tells us that's not going to happen, but I hope the evidence is wrong. And with Mason Mount, I've got no idea, man. Right? I've got no idea. Because he wasn't really injury prone before he left Chelsea. I mean, he had some injuries, but sure, he's a footballer. He's come to United and he put in the graft before this pre-season, extra training, came in, had injury. Weird. If Luke Shaw can come back, I don't know when he'll be back at some point. But if we've got Luke Shaw on the verge of being back, we've got Tyrell Madacia being there. Mazraoui is actually available when we didn't think that he was available. Fullbacks might not be as bad as we thought they may have been. Now, let's move on and talk about the game. Let's move on and talk about Brentford. Thomas Frank here was asked about Erik ten Hag in his pre-match press conference, and it's kind of like the head coach union, the managers union here. He's just explaining here that, you know, when it comes to the scrutiny of Erik ten Hag, he feels it's a bit overboard, and the idea that if the team wins, then the head coach is absolutely fantastic. If the team loses, the head coach is absolutely, well, you can see what word that is. The reality is it's probably somewhere in between. I think it's exactly right. And true, I think that's something you can just apply to everything in life. Like, if you're really feeling really I don't know, if you're having an argument and two people say they're correct, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, rather than one person being right. And following on from that, I thought this was quite an interesting interview from Johnny Evans. Now, Johnny Evans, of course, who was man of the match against Villa. Was he man of the match overall? I think he was man of the match overall. And the way he spoke about Erik ten Hag after the game. Now, Johnny Evans, I think at his core, right now, more than anything, and I don't mean this in a horrible way, he's just grateful to still be playing football at the top level, let alone at Manchester United. Because he has the awareness that his career, past this point, probably he's retiring into this season. So he's really grateful. But Johnny Evans is someone who's there, who's worked with, and I'll be honest, like, this, you can just read through this while I'm talking. This is just Evans's comments on Ten Hag's character and sort of the ability to not be sidetracked with distraction. And I remember after the FA Cup final, I remember saying, look, I've just got to give Erik ten Hag a lot of credit in how he handled that whole situation. And some of you will probably call it delusional in how ten Hag speaks. Ten Hag after the game, I do wish after the game that Erik ten Hag could be more sort of honest about the football that he sees, rather than saying, "Oh, we were good, we were better. If only this little tiny thing was different, then it would have been a different game." Whereas in reality, it's not what we've all just watched as fans. But I don't know. I've semi-admired that ability, and I think it's an important part of any coach to be able to sort of stay true to what you believe in, despite everything that's been reporting and said in the press. And no one has to deal with more of that than Erik ten Hag. And I think, just Johnny Evans is just in an interview with Sky Sports, just kind of saying, yeah, I sort of admire that in him. That's kind of fair play. Linton, you're saying, I agree with Thomas Frank. Oh, wrong one. What's just the extreme? The extremes of football, I think, exist with Manchester United more than any team. We all get swept away with it. Week in, week out, in a game, even at half-time. You get swept away with the wins and you get pulled down with the losses. Man, sometimes I get mega carried away with the wins. Can't help it. I remember Brentford last year was a big one. My face was just like, whoa, my face was tomato when I came on from the match reaction. And the FA Cup final as well. After that, popped out the little bottle of Prosecco. Had a great day there. Had a great day. Ten Hag at his core is an assistant manager, says Devil. I don't think I would agree with that. I just don't think that Erik ten Hag's approach works in England. And I don't think that he has shifted enough and adapted enough to the demands of what the Premier League has and the weaknesses that his system exposes. Because remember, and this is something I got completely wrong, by the way, when Erik ten Hag came in. I really, really felt and thought that Erik ten Hag had like a clear philosophy. Because everything that you'd seen at Ajax, you could look at the system, you could look at the style, everything had been. Well, I wouldn't say considered. There have been different varieties of it in the first iteration of a top team that he built, Ajax, and the second iteration. Kind of different because the second one had Sebastian Haller, so it had a focal point, so the tactics were tweaked. And that's what I should have focused on. Erik ten Hag's philosophy is not actually a philosophy itself. It's to make the best of the players that I currently have and creating a system exactly out of those. Richie saying Sam's jumping on the Erik ten Hag out bandwagon now. Boring, 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 Richie. Be better in the chat, all right? You're boring me, man. And if any of you just still simplify a conversation down to a ten Hag in or a ten Hag out, I think it's because you're just not willing enough to actually have a conversation about points on either side. Like an adult. Because that's what we're doing here. For me to suggest that Erik ten Hag goes out and all the problems disappear at Manchester United, yeah, all right, mate, yeah, great. That's not going to happen. For me to suggest that Erik ten Hag is perfect and there's nothing wrong with what he's doing, I'm not going to ignore the evidence that I see in front of my eyes. It can be a bit of both. And you're allowed that. You are allowed that. Man, football conversation sometimes can be so boring. Anyway, right. Let's speak about the game tomorrow. And I'll run through my starting 11, okay? This was my prediction for the game. I thought that we would see Martinez go in at left. So bear in mind, this starting 11 was if Mazraoui was injured and I've got Mainoo down here now. I've kind of switched it up. The ones who are yellow are sort of question marks at this point in time. The ones who are black down there, these are all the injured ones. So Shaw, Yoro, Mount, Maguire and Mainoo. And this was the starting 11 I went for. I do not want to see Johnny. This would piss me off so much. Right? And I just don't see why Erik ten Hag would do it. But it would really piss me off. Evans should be left centre back. All right? I don't really... Look, In terms of the other options that we've got, if Mazraoui's fit to play, Mazraoui may well play. We've also got Fenerbahce away on Thursday, which, given the context of our first 2 games with 2 draws, we kind of need a win. And that is not going to be an enjoyable game. Mourinho, away in Turkey. Anyway. I don't think Mazraoui will start. I don't think Malacia will start. So I think a back 5 there. Dalot going to right back and Martinez at left back. And then when United go forward, it will just be like Dalot will go forward and you'd see this. Manchester United will drop into that shape going forward. And Dalot will be the one who actually goes forward. If Martinez plays left back, I wouldn't ever really expect to see Martinez here at any point in the game. I think it'll just operate as kind of like a third centre back more than anything, with United therefore going down the right flank instead of the left. Just a prediction. I actually think we'll see Eriksen and Casemiro in midfield. Other options that we've got up there, because Kobbie Mainoo's injured now. Ugarte's a question mark. Probably Collier and Gore as the 2 options. Now, I mean, you could technically see Collier at left back. Remember, I think, was it Barnsley Ten Hag used that for? I think he was just trying him out just to see if he could play there. No, I don't think he'll play there. You could see Lindelof at right back. And it might happen. But I just hope it won't. I hope it won't. And I've gone for a front 3 of Rashford, Højlund and Ahmad. Højlund, who still is yet to complete 90 minutes. I'll be honest, I don't remember Højlund really completing 90 minutes that much last season either. I think he was always taken off, if I remember correctly. Energy saying, what games are you going to this season, Sam? Well, I've been doing the rehab right now, and I'll tell you what, we're 3 weeks into this 10-week plan I'm doing, and it's working. It's definitely working. It's quite hard, but it is working. Starting to feel a lot stronger. The legs are getting the strength back. Because I think I told you this before, but I didn't realise that. But the first 7 months, the surgery was so severe that the first 7 months were just everything sort of repairing itself to the point where there wasn't pain when you walked. Past that point, I then had no Achilles. I had no calf. So I'm in the middle of, well, I say in the middle, I'm at the beginning of really starting to do calf rehab and Achilles rehab. I can't jump. I can't jump up and down. I can't even jog. That's how little power I can push through my left ankle. So we're some way off yet. But ideally, I want to be going to, I don't know, Feb, March time. That might be nice. That might be nice. Devil, you're saying this Ahmad back? Yeah, Ahmad's in training. So this is the team I would go for. You could get Xerxes in there. I know a lot of people want to see Xerxes playing in the number 10 role. Truth be told, if Manchester United play well and Manchester United win, that man there plays well, right? I'm not saying that it's not guaranteed, but largely, if Manchester United win a game of football, Bruno has a good game. Manchester United don't have a good game of football, Bruno has a bad game. The correlation's quite obvious, but it's not exact. I'd like to see this. Now, you could see Xerxes play up top instead of Højlund. That might happen, right? That might happen. Harry and Mass. I think the majority of, if I was to go like as a percentage split, I think I'd be like 75-25 in agreement that Harry and Mass shouldn't be starting this game, that Harry and Mass shouldn't be thrown in. 25% of me would be like, no, man, you've got to give him a chance rather than playing, like if it's Johnny Evans playing there or Lindelof playing at right back. I think that's just as much of a risk as starting Harry and Mass. But 75% of me agrees that it'll be not the right environment and game to put him in. Yeah, and Mbeumo, Brentford have got some danger men, right? They've got some danger men. They've been scoring in the first minute and a half. Let me see what you're saying down here in the predictions. All right, let's have a look. 750 votes. Thank you, everyone, for getting involved. 63% of you are saying United win. 20% are saying draw. And 17% of you are saying Brentford win. Now, I'm in agreement with the 63%. My prediction was a 2-1 win that isn't enjoyable to watch as a fan. You know, one of those where sometimes you're kind of watching out the corner of your eye towards the end of the game. That's what I think. Stu, you'll mention it down there. Actually, quite a few of you are mentioning it down there. There are quite a few seats free tomorrow. I think United are still trying to sell them. So many United fans are just... I go back to what Andy Mitten wrote at the bottom of an article in the last few weeks. He said, United fans, and we have been, like, typically United fans are more patient than most clubs. The match-going fans are more patient than most clubs are, with players and with managers. But it kind of feels like that patience is stretching towards desperation at this point. When people are going like, another false dawn? The falsest of dawns, this one. That feeling after the League Cup final. It wasn't just because we won a League Cup. It's because I looked at the whole team, I looked at everything, and it's just I could see the connecting dots. More so than I ever could under a Mourinho or anything before it. And to go from that to where we are now, that's some fall off, that is. And yeah, I'm predicting United to win 2-1 and for it to be a scrappy game. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Stephen's saying, hard to pick a team, but happy to see at the moment with the injuries and lack of form and many other players. Well, you didn't leave anything there. I don't know. That was a weird comment. I want to see offloads and loans, says Imtiaz. Well, you're not really going to be getting that at this point in the season, are you? Watch out for Mikkel Damsgaard. He's tiny, isn't he? He's good, though. I can't wait for the January window. Man, this January window, You really expecting much? I'm not expecting anything. January window will be... will be the same as it has been for the last 3-4 years. Man United will probably go and try and sign a striker over the age of 30 on loan. I think that's what the summer transfer, the January transfer window will be. I don't think there'll be anything else. I'd take a scrappy win all day, says Origami. Of course I would, man. We've got 7 games here. Starting with Brentford on Saturday. Then Fenerbahce away. And then I think it's West Ham away. And then it's Leicester in the Cup. And then Sod knows who we play after that. But then and then we play Leicester in the league as a 7th game. 2-1 win is about right. 4-3 United. Classic, says Stephanie. Score some bloody goals, United. My word, we've been starved. 5 goals we've scored in 7 games. That is garbage. Absolutely disgusting. It really is. I'm not looking about gaps to the top 4, man. We're 7 games in, peeps. Well, there's no point talking about gaps or how many points you are. Just build some momentum, for the love of God. Just put in some performances, please. Starting with Brentford on Saturday. I don't want... it would be foolish of me to expect everything to come up Millhouse, right? And United to play free-flowing, beautiful football against Brentford and dominate them. I don't expect that to happen. But don't you dare get pumped by Brentford again. A pumping is... I don't know how to describe what a pumping by Brentford would mean. Jesus. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. We'll score 5. Mark my words. Mark my words, says Guy Breadman. Well, I hold you to that. If we score 5, I won't do anything, but I'll celebrate. Is Martinez available? As far as we know, he's available. He was in training, beast mode. Corey saying, I'm so burnt out trying to stay positive. Unfortunately, I think we'll lose 2-1. However, an unlucky goal against us in the 80th minute. I mean, it's tough right now. It really is tough right now. Right, that's Kobbie Mainoo. And Brentford's not an easy game. Like Brentford, let's be honest, like they've had a mixed season. They're mid-table like we are. Their last game, madness. 5-3, they beat Wolves. 1-0 up, 1-1. 2-1 up, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 5-3. Mental. Sam, do you believe the Twitter handle that broke the news about Kobbie Mainoo now? I don't care, dude. As I said at the time, this may well be correct, but to then take this random bit of information and spread it with headlines everywhere, that's exactly how fake news spreads. At some point, I'd love to do, it'll probably piss off too many fans, to be honest. I'd love to do a little social experiment where I just create some fake news. I don't tell anybody about it. And I share it around. I get it spread and I go, case in point. But I don't think I'll do that because that'd be a little bit unfair. But I probably could. West Ham away. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, yeah, it's map day. Come on, peeps. I know you've all stuck around me this week. Finally, we can talk about football tomorrow. Let me know where you're watching from, all right? The city and the country. And I'll try and get a few of you onto the map. We've got Blantyre in Malawi. Recently, we've got Glasgow in Scotland. We've got Tanzania. We've got South Africa, Norway, New Zealand, Ireland, Japan, Nigeria, Turkey, Malaysia, Pakistan, Botswana, USA. Proper around the world. It really, really is around the world. I love how global the audience is here on United People's TV. We've got Pete watching from, is that Cebu City in the Philippines? Kibu? I'm going Cebu. Probably isn't right. Man, the amount of things that I mispronunciate on here. Mispronunciate? I'm losing my mind now. We've got DK Viking. You're watching from Silkeborg in Denmark. Silkeborg? Cool. On you go, sir. Welcome aboard. I hope all of you are going to come to the live show when it happens. I can't wait for that. I'm really looking forward to it. I was thinking about it earlier today. I think we'll probably do it on an away game. I'm going to be asking the members. So, right, so members keep an eye out because they're going to be asking all of you where you'd like it to happen. Probably London or Manchester will be the two locations and rough dates we'd have as well. But ideally want to choose somewhere. Do it in an away game. Do like a live little podcast chat beforehand. Watch the game together. Have a few beers. Do a match reaction after. I think that'll be a cool little day. Right, one more on the map. We've got Yanko watching from Saskilak in Russia. We do not have many Russians on the channel. I can't even spell it. Like. All right. I went to Kaliningrad, which is just about in Russia. No, we've got a couple on it now. Look at that. Let's get one more. We've got Mr. Gurung watching from Pokhara. Pokhara? Man, I'm sorry, everyone. I've been annihilating. But you're in Nepal. Fantastic. Oh, yeah, by the way, big congratulations to Andy Mitten, to Brian Robson, and to everybody else who climbed Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro? I'm saying some weird things today. Kilimanjaro, right? Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for sticking for me this week. I'm just, my sentences aren't making sense now. Right, I'm going to wrap up. Now, at lunchtime today, we're supposed to have a Graham Souness mini documentary ready for you. But we've had a couple of problems, so I don't think that will be ready. I might not do a lunchtime video today because if there is a talking point I think that's worthy of your time ahead of the game tomorrow, I'll do one. If not, I'll be here after the game tomorrow, and where the conversation can start again on the return of football. Rex, you're saying, bit of info I missed. Nice bit of trivia. The actor who played Anakin Skywalker's favourite team in FIFA was Man United. Always knew he was a good one. That really is a random fact. But that's how we're going to end it with the live shows this week. Big up to all of you. Have a cracking weekend. Please do drop a like on the video. And, just win tomorrow, please.